Hello everyone, welcome to the first lesson of sampling time for QGIS. Today I'm going to explore the judgmental sampling model. I will show you how to add samples manually, enter them using coordinates, and import them from files. We will also customize sample labels and symbology, and I will show you how to edit the symbology settings to make everything looks just right. Later, I will take a quick tour of the plugin interface. I will share some of the challenges I faced during development. At the end, I will walk you through how to create sampling and exclusion zones using the Generate Shapefile tab. To keep the things simple and easy to follow, today we are going to be working on a small and straightforward project, so you can understand everything without overcomplicating the use of the plugin. If you are new to the sampling time plugin, I highly recommend watching the introduction video first. I will link it below. Alright, let's jump in.
Sampling Time, a QGIS plugin, is revolutionizing the sampling process by automating tasks, reducing costs, and increasing efficiency. Supporting judgmental, random, systematic, stratified, and cluster sampling methods, it adapts to any project's needs. A smarter way to sample is now available.
Once QGIS is open, just click in this icon that is for the sampling time plugin to open the plugin. If you don't have the plugin, just go to Plugins, Manage and Install Plugins, click on All, search for sampling time, select it and install it, and that's it. Then if you want to recover against the interface, you have a couple of options. You can click again on the icon, then the interface is going to appear again, or also you can go here and maximize these windows over here, and the interface is going to appear again. Also, if you cannot see the plugin over here, it's because you don't have activated the plugin toolbar. As you can see here, plugin toolbar, in my case, is checked. Then you have to check to see the plugins you have installed. But if you don't want to have this toolbar, you also can go to Vector, and here you have sampling time. Then click on sampling time to see the interface. The first step before to start any sampling method is to load in this section here the sampling area. As you can see now, if I click, nothing happens. Then we can search the sampling area, clicking this button over here. In my case, the shapefile, because it has to be a shapefile, is this one over here. Then I can select the file, open, and as you can see, this file is directly open on QGIS, on the canvas, and I have already this shapefile to be selected over here. But we can do a different way that I'm going to show you now. First, what I'm going to do is close QGIS again, and I'm going to reopen to show you the other way. In this case, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to open the sampling time plugin, and as you can see, nothing happens. Then what I'm going to do is to open the project. I can open the project directly, double click here at the recent projects panel, or I can go to project, open project, or go to open recent projects, etc. The goal is just to open the project. Then when I double click to the project to be open on the QGIS canvas, and then I go to the plugin, nothing happens. Then what I have to do is just to press the button reset. Then this action will reset the plugin to its initial state. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes. Then after refreshing the plugin, you can see now the layers appear over here. This is the two shape files that we have already loaded at the layer panel in QGIS. Is these two shape files, and the same shape files I have over here. But the one I'm interested, because it's the sampling area, is the a small sampling area is this file over here, the same as this one over here. Another very important thing is to make sure that we have the same coordinate systems in the project, is this one here at the bottom, and also for the shape files. Here what we have is the APSG code that has a unique number for each coordinate reference system. Now the next step is to add the exclusion zone. In this case, what we're going to add is the tanks. We don't want to have any samples in these areas. Then what we're going to do is just click over here and look for the file. In this case, I have this folder, and is this one, storage tanks. Open, and this shapefile has been added here on the list, and it's the same as the one I have over here. Then if I want to remove it, I can double click. Remove storage tanks from exclusion list, and you can remove it or you can leave it. I'm going to leave it because I needed to leave it. It is very important to mention that the storage tanks is inside of the sampling area. And also, if you check over here, we have even the same coordinate reference system. The next step is the button symbol. This button is just to go to the folder where is saved the symbology that you can use for the projects. In a different video, I'm going to show you how you can install this old symbology inside of the QGIS, because this symbology that is the same that we have over here, it's not by default in QGIS. Then if you want to use this symbology in a different project, or for example, if you close the project and then reopen again and you want to have the same symbology, you have to keep this symbology inside of QGIS. And at the moment, by default, it is not inside of QGIS. Now the next step is to add the root for the sample labels. Here you can add any type of character. In this case, what I'm going to add is soil sampling, for example, for 2025, something like that. And just make sure you press the button Save in order to keep that root label inside of the software, okay? When you press over here, you confirm that you want to save that label. You know, it's a way to receive the information from the software, right? It's like giving a feedback from the software. The same for the symbology. In this case, I'm going to use, for example, this symbology over here, and then I'm going to press the button Save Symbol, and OK. I think it's very satisfying to receive this kind of information for the software, right? Because when you are pressing OK here, you be aware 100% that the information you add here is going to be safe. This feedback, I think, is pretty interesting, and that's the reason because I decided to make something like that, to confirm that you save that information. Because it is not necessary. You can leave this space in blank, not adding any information, and then the plugin by default is going to add a numerical label from 1 to any number of samples you add on the project. And the same for the symbology. If you don't save the symbology, you are going to get as a symbology just a circle with a color that is a random color. But if you press the button, you are going to receive that feedback, right? That is saying, okay, you are going to save this information. And that's something that I want to share. Now that we add all the information that we need at the initiation panel, we are ready to add the samples. Then select the option you want. In this case, I'm going to mark this option over here. And here I'm going to have a guide about how to use it. Click Start to begin adding sample points on the map. Left-click to add a point, and right-click to remove them. When finished, click Finish to generate the final shapefile. Then OK. And to start to sampling, I have to press the button Start. When you press the button start, you are going to see that the cursor changes. Now we have a crosshair, as you can see. Then we can go to the map, we can minimize this one if it's annoying, and then select where you want to add the sample. Just left click on your mouse, over here, over here, over here. Also, if I want to remove the sample, I can right click on the mouse and the sample is going to disappear. Then let's go to see what happened when I try to add one sample in a exclusion zone. You're going to get this message. The sample point is within an exclusion zone. Then you cannot edit that sample. And I'm going to add the sample over here, the sample over here. And what happens if I want to add one sample outside of the perimeter of the sampling area? We're going to get this message. The sample point is outside the sampling area. Okay, then what I need to do to add one sample outside of the sampling area? Then I go to the plugin and I check this box over here, allow outside samplings. Then I press this one over here and now I can add the sample outside. I can add one more sample over here and one more over here. I want to say a couple of things. First of all, the exclusion zone is added here in the plugin. It's not because we have this shapefile loaded here at the QGIS layer panel, because we can remove this one here. And now if we try to add a sample, we cannot do that one because the exclusion zone is loaded here at the plugin. And other important thing I want to say is related with the restrictions of adding samples outside of the perimeter of the sampling area. Sometimes these things are really important when you are at the field because, you know, in order to take a sample outside of the perimeter area, maybe you need a special permission. Then you don't want to make any mistake taking samples outside of the perimeter sampling. And in this case, we are working manually, right? And we are not going to make any mistake because it's just a few samples. It's not really complicated. But sometimes if we have to add a lot of samples, or we are working with coordinates or with a file, it's very easy to make a mistake and maybe add one sample outside of the perimeter area. Then maybe if the field technician go there and pick up that sample over there without any permission, could be a problem. Then we want to avoid that specific problems, and that's because I made this restriction. If you want to take a sample outside of the perimeter of sampling, you need to mark this box, okay? Then it made you think about it before to take any sample outside of the perimeter. That's the thinking behind of this checkbox. Also now, if you uncheck the box and you try to pick up a sample, you can not do that. The software doesn't allow you, okay? Then you have to mark again the box to pick up a outside sample. Then once you have all the samples you need, just press the button Finish to create the final shapefile. First is asking for the folder you want to select to save the new shapefile is going to be created. That's the folder. You don't need to add any name, just select a folder. In this case, I'm going to select this folder over here, press select the folder, and now it's going to ask what name you want for the shapefile. And by default, it's going to be this name, but you can change it, okay? Sampling 1, whatever you want to add. And then after you press OK, the new shapefile is going to be loaded directly on the QGIS panel, as you can see over here, and it's going to add the symbology that you selected. In this case, it was this symbology. As you can see, it's this symbology over here. Also, if you go to the attribute table, you are going to see that you have the labels that you added, the root label, and then add numerically and sequentially numbers from 1 to the total number of samples you have. In this case, we have an A samples, and that's the labels that we have for these A samples. here is something important related with the coordinate reference systems that the final shapefile with the sample has. Then the question is, what coordinate reference systems this shapefile has? Then if we go to properties, then go to the tab information, you are going to see that we have this reference coordinate system. And why we have this reference coordinate system? Because when I designed the plugin, I decided that this final shapefile with the samples is going to have the same coordinate reference system as the shapefile that we loaded here. Sorry, let me close this one. That we loaded here as a sampling area. Then any shapefile that you load here as a sampling area, its coordinate system is going to be the same as the coordinate system that is going to be added to the final shapefile with the samples. And that's automatically. The software is not going to ask you what kind of coordinate reference systems you want for the final shapefile. It happens automatically. And it's something that you need to know and have in consideration. Now, if you go here to properties, you can edit this symbology. These symbols has been created as SVG files, and they are totally possible to edit them with QGIS. Then go here and you can change, for example, the color for a red color, apply. And now you can see the color is red. Also, you can change the color of the field for a yellow one, apply. You can change the size if you want, apply. And also you can change, let's go back to number 4 to see better, apply. And also you can make, for example, this one to be transparent, apply. Or even the field for the symbology. Here you can make this one transparent, apply. Make this one, for example, in a black color, apply. You can change the orientation. You can apply all these things. It's totally editable. That's the thing that's pretty awesome, because you can customize the symbology a lot, and that's pretty good. Also, you can add the labels. Let me change this one, apply. And now we can go to the labels here and add the labels. Single label, and I want this column. I can add the ID, or I can add samples. Apply. And the samples is this column. Sorry, okay. Is this column that has been created over here at the attribute tables. This column over here with the labels that we design. Then if we go here, properties, we can edit what we want. We can add a buffer, for example. Text, we can change the font if we want. For, I don't know, this one. The buffer. A mask. Apply. We can change the color if we want for a green one. I don't know if it's going to be good. Not really. It's better black. As you can see, we can edit a lot of things. Even we can go to the attribute table here. Open attribute table. Minimize this one. We can click over here, select this one here, then go to the attribute table. Has been marked there. And if we want, we can change even the label here. We can say this one is the number 10. And then save here, save. And as you can see, now we can deselect, and now we have the number 10 over here. And even we can change the route if we want. It is very flexible, right? Now, as we have also the coordinates at the attribute table, and we know what is the coordinate reference system, we can export this one, export, save feature as like a CSV file. Then put a name, sampling 1. The reference coordinate systems is good. Then select a folder where you want to save it. I'm going to select this folder over here. File name, sampling 1, save, and OK. And now if we go to that folder, is this one here. Sampling time. Sampling 1 is this file over here. You can open this one with the software Excel of the Office package. Open. This is a free software, open source, but you can use also the regular Office. Open as a copy. And you can print this information and go with this information to the field. And then with a GPS, you can take the samples at the field. That's just an example. Then if we go here again, and we go to the plugin, we can see also that there is this information over here that is related with the sampling method. It's just a very small explanation about what is this method about it, right? And also you have this small guide that show you how to work with the initiation panel. Because the rest, the things you have to do after you selecting the method you want to use, you have a small guide, right? If we change from this method to this method, you are going to see that then you have here the guide. If we mark again this one, it's going to have the guide for this one. Then this guide over here is just to fill the initiation panel. And then every method, independently, they have their own guide. As you can see, all the sampling method is guide from the top to the bottom. And it makes the plugin to be used very easy, you know. When I designed this plugin, I was thinking of people that doesn't have any idea about using QGIS. Then with all these guys, it make easy for people without any experience to create projects for sampling. And as you are going to see later, it's going to be for those people even easy to create areas for sampling and exclusion zones with this tab. Pretty easy without any knowledge of QGIS or geographic information systems. Just following this tutorial, following the guides, the process is pretty easy. And at the end, that was a little bit of the goal, right? To create a plugin that could be useful for people who is starting the geographic information systems and also for people with a lot of experience. And also, you know, you have information about the plugin at the gscourse.online. You can go to Geoscience apps, and here you have a guide about how to use the plugin. You have all the information related with the plugin if you need extra information. Also, you have the plugin at the QGIS plugin repository. Then if you search here for sampling time, just press intro, and you are going to get the same information you are seeing over here, right? Related with the plugin. Then you can go inside the plugin and get extra information, details, versions. Also here you have the link for the code repository in my GitHub. Here you can add any issue related with the plugin. Also you have all the source code with all the information. For example, now we are working on Judgmental. Where is the code for Judgmental? Right here. This is all the code I created with artificial intelligence to create that model. Now, let me talk a little bit about the interface. Then, when you download QGIS, there is also a software called Qt Designer. Then you can open that one, and you're going to have access to the interface. Then what you are going to have is to go to here to open and look for the folder where you have the plugin installed. Then that folder, if you go here, go to the plugin and press the symbol over here, you're going to see that this is the link folder. This folder over here. Then I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to go here. I'm going to paste. I'm going to press intro, and this is the folder. And this is the file where you have the interface. You can open here, and that's the interface. If you want to modify anything related with the interface of the plugin, has to be modified over here. Then one interesting thing in this plugin, as you can see, is that the interface is fixed. You cannot make this interface bigger, shorter. The dimensions is fixed, and there is a reason of that. Making a responsive interface with Qt Designer is quite complicated. Even for me, that I didn't have a previous experience making, QGIS plugins, especially when the interface has many functionalities, like in this case, that we have a lot of tabs with different options, different panels over here, panels right there. And Qt's responsive system doesn't work in the same way as the web's design. In the web's design, it's very easy to make the interface to be responsive, to see well in a mobile or in a tab or in a, PC screen. And when I try to make it fully responsive, in order to make this interface bigger or smaller, I was not completely satisfied with the result. Then, at the end, I decided to use fixed dimensions that works well for most of the common screen resolutions, especially for icons scales at 100 and 125. For example, if you go here, you see display settings, and here is where you can make the icons bigger, as a 125, or the recommended one is 100%, right? Then I was working with these two scales, and with these two, the interface looks pretty well. And I believe most of the people, they are using that scales. But if you think this one is not useful, because I don't think you need to make the interface bigger or smaller. I think something fixed, it works very properly. But if the people is thinking that could be better, to have a responsive interface, at the future, in a different version, I can modify that one, and I can make the coder stronger, to have the responsive interface. But I would like to know, what is your opinion about this thing, right? Do you think it's going to be useful for the people, for you to use the plugin to have a responsive interface? Or you think with something fixed is pretty useful and it doesn't worth, to invest more time on the plugin interface? I would like to know your opinion. Please, if you can leave any comment at the comment section in the video related to this point, could be pretty interesting for me. Say that, now let's go to move on to the next option for Judgmental sampling. That is going to be add samples by coordinates. Then, as you can see, when we selected this option, a new layer has been created, right? Then what I'm going to do is remove this one. Okay. Yeah, to start fresh, I'm going to make this layer not visible, because we are going to create a new one. I'm going to close all these pop-ups over here. And the selected, I'm going to select again to be ready for the new shapefile. And here I'm going to follow the instructions. to add sample points, enter the X and Y coordinates and click Add. You see, Add coordinates. Or simply left click on the map to place points and right click to remove them. When you are done, click Finish to create the final shapefile. As you can see here in this option, we can add coordinates as we was doing before with the add sample manually, with left click and right click to remove it, and also adding the coordinates over here and pressing this button. Then let's go to try the first one, adding samples manually. We already saw that one in the previous option. But in this case, as you can see, when we are adding the coordinates, these coordinates are adding in this list. Then we can remove the sample just with right click. You see, but also we can remove the sample here if we double click. You see, we can add the samples, whatever. Here we cannot add the samples because we have an exclusion zone on the tank area. And also we cannot add anything outside because we didn't check this box. Then we can eliminate the samples just with double click here. I cannot eliminate more. No, it's not working. But we can remove with the left click with the mouse. That's a bug that can be fixed, in the next version. But also we can add just by coordinates. And that's the interesting thing of this option. Then to do that one, you have to make sure that the coordinates you have are in the same coordinate systems for the project and for your layers you have here loaded, okay? That's very important. Always we have to be working with the same coordinate systems. In this case, we are using the code 32613 for the project and for the layers, okay? That's very important. Then to do that one, to get the coordinates, I'm going to use the Google Earth Pro to extract some coordinates from some points that I created. I know in this case, if you go to Tools, Options, I have here the Universal Translate Mercator for the UTM coordinates, and I know they are using this coordinate system here, the WGS 84 UTM. And I know is the zone 13 north. If you go here, as you can see here at the bottom, you can see 13T. That's the zone. Then what I'm going to do here is just, for example, select this point that I marked. I go to Properties, and I have this pop up over here with the coordinates. I'm going to copy these coordinates, and I'm going to paste over there. I try to simulate, going to close this one here. Show me the coordinates again. I try to simulate that I have a list with the coordinates and I'm going to add these coordinates to the QGIS. Then go to the plugin, going to copy the X coordinate, copy, paste, and I'm going to copy also the Y coordinate, copy and paste. And then what I have to do is add coordinates, and this new point has been added over here. Now I'm going to add one more as example. Just a second. Going to copy the coordinate here. I have two screens, right? That's because you cannot see anything. And I paste over here, and I copy from here, from the other screen. Copy, and I'm going to paste over here. Paste. And it's going to be adding one extra point over this area over here. Then add coordinates. And let's go to see what happened when we try to add one coordinate that is in a exclusion zone, okay? Then I'm going to add this point over here, Properties, copy, paste over here, and copy and paste over here. You see, it's added over there because it's just at the limit, I think, of the exclusion zone. Maybe this area was not marked as exclusion zone, and that's because the sample was added. Let me try with a different one. This one, let's see. Properties. This one is at the middle of the tank. Copy, paste, and copy and paste. Paste. Doesn't allow me to add the sample, you see, because we are in exclusion zone. And let's see what happens now when we try to add one that is outside of the sampling area. This one over here. Properties, copy, going to paste over here. And this one, copy and paste. Then add coordinates, and also doesn't allow me to add. The sample point is outside the sampling area. But then if I mark this box, the sample is going to be adding over here. And now I press the button, now has been added because we allow to add samples outside of the sampling area. Then this is another way of creating a sampling project with coordinates that you have, right? I think this way it's now pretty fast way to add samples, but I don't know, maybe you have samples that was taken at the past and you have a paper with the information, or you need to check coordinates because someone sent you a message with coordinates and you want to check on the map, whatever. Sometimes you have no digital format of the coordinates, and you need to tap in your keyboard and put the coordinates on the software and see where the samples they are, right? And that's the purpose of this module in the judgmental sampling. Then I'm going to change this one a little bit, to make something different. Then this one is going to be RT, I don't know, something like this. And then save. And I also going to change this one over here for a different symbology. I'm going to use this one, save, okay. And I'm going to create the final shapefile, but I'm going to remove this sample here because I don't like this one. And finish. Then again, we have to select the folder. It's going to be this folder. Select, and I need a name for this one. I'm going to leave this name by default. Okay. And okay. And you can see now we have the samples over here with the symbology we selected. And also if we go to the attribute table, we have the labels that we added and the coordinates with the samples, as we did before with the other method, right? It's more or less the same, but in this case, we can add coordinates manually. Now we can uncheck this layer over here, go to the plugin again, and we are going to work with the last example, in this case, for judgmental sampling, that is going to be add samples by 5. One functionality that I added to the plugin is that when you select one new method, the other one is just selected automatically. As you can see, if I click here, that one is no longer selected. And also automatically create a temporary shapefile for the samples. You have to think that every function I add to the plugin has to be configured in a specific way. Nothing happens randomly. Everything the plugin is doing has been coding to do that specific task. And sometimes, you have to think what is going to be the user experience with all these things. And it's not easy, right? Because you have to imagine how the user is going to use the plugin. And you have to predict all the X scenarios for the users. And believe me, there are a lot of X scenarios. And everything has to be programmed. Then it's a lot of things involved. And this function that is pretty evident and no one is going to think about it, has to be programmed, the software, to do that specific thing. Okay, let me take this one out, remove, because I don't want to have any problem. Then I'm going to take this one out. I'm going to select again, and now is the temporary shapefile created, and I'm going to follow the instructions. To load sample points, use the Load File button to select a CSV or XLSX file. Then we can use two different formats. Choose the X and Y coordinates, column, and click Add Coordinates to place them on the map. You can also left-click on the map to add points manually and right-click to remove them. When you are done, click Finish to create the final shapefile. Then in this case, we can do the same. We can add samples manually with the left-click and remove them with the right-click. And also we can add a file. Let's go to see it. Let's go to first add some samples manually. We can remove them, no problem. But also we can go here and add a file. Load file. I have the file in this folder. No, new folder over here. Then I have here two different files. This one is CSV. Open. Then here you have to put X with X coordinate and Y with Y coordinate. Then let me show you that file, how it looks like, because I think it's important. New folder. I'm going to open this one. Okay. And as you can see, this folder just has X and Y coordinates, okay, for the sample points. Then these coordinates has to be in the same reference coordinate system, okay? Now we can press the button Add Coordinates, and we have this pop-up. Some points are either outside the sampling area or within the exclusion zones, and it's indicating all the samples are outside sampling area or within the exclusion zones. It's specified over here. Then you have different options. You can add all the points. You can add only the valid points, or you can cancel it to edit your spreadsheet, and add the samples that you want to add. In this case, first, what I'm going to do is add just the valid points. Press this option. Some points are added successfully, but the following points were invalid. Okay, it's more or less the same message, but you are going to get the information that some of the points are already added to the map, but these ones are not going to be added, okay? And okay. Then what samples has been added? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then if we go here to the attribute table, we have the coordinates, and we have the samples here, the label we added. Then let's go to remove this one at the moment. Okay. And now what we are going to do is a different thing. Let me go to the plugin again. Taking this one out, press this one again. Okay. I'm going to leave this one in blank. Save. Okay. And then I'm going to mark this option here. Okay. To allow me to add samples outside of the sampling area. Then I'm going to load the file again. Open. Select the X with the X, Y with Y, and add coordinates. And in this case, it's going to add all the samples, but not the one at the exclusion zone. But if you remember before, we have a lot of samples that it was outside of the perimeter area. But now, as I mark this option over here, the software, the plugin in this case, recognize that the box has been checked, and now there is just one sample that is not going to be added. Then add valid points only. The same as before, this point is not going to be added, and okay. And as you can see, now we have all these samples over here. All these ones are outside of the perimeter of the sampling area. If we go to the attribute table, you are going to see that now for the labels, we have just numbers. And also we have a new column with the order of the sampling points added to the canvas of QGIS and the coordinates. Now the same, if you go here, you can add more samples if you want with the mouse. You can remove these ones if you don't want it. And you can press here, finish, select the folder. It's going to be this folder. Select the folder. And the name, I'm going to leave this name by default. And OK. And OK. And now the samples has been created with the symbology you save over here. Okay, let's see a couple of things more. I'm going to dismart this option here. Taking this one out, I'm going to create again a new shapefile. Okay. Then the first thing, when you press here, you are going to see that you have here different options. Here is saying CSV files. But if you select the other one, you are going to see the other files. Let me go to this folder. You see this one. This one is in this format, but the other one is in the other format, okay? Then depending what format you have, you're going to see or you are not going to see the files, okay? In this case, we are going to work with this one, and I'm going to select this file. Now I'm going to select the columns with the coordinates, and I'm going to add the samples. Again, we have the same message because there are samples that are outside of the sampling area, and this box is not checked. And also we have one on the exclusion zone. But we can add all the points if we want. This option, we didn't check it before. If you press here, all the samples has been added. All points has been added. Note that some of the points may be outside the sampling area or within the exclusion zones, and it's indicating what points are. Close, then we can remove this one because it's an exclusion zone. We can remove this one. And then when we remove these ones and you go here to the attribute table, you are going to see that now we have gaps on the label sampling, right? Because we don't have 4 because we remove it, and we don't have 8. But when you finish, when you go here and you press finish, select the folder. It's going to be this folder here, going to be Judgmental, select folder, and that one is going to be number 1 to have a different name file because we already created with this name. Then press OK, and OK. Now we have this new shapefile. But if you go to the attribute tables, when we press finish, a new shapefile is created and the temporary one is eliminated. But in the new shapefile, we don't have any gap in the labeling. That is very important. And that's the 2 things I want to talk about it. Now, the next thing that we can do is to see how we can create the exclusion zones and the sampling areas. Now we are going to create a sampling area that is going to be a shapefile. Then what we are going to do is digitize this area over here on the map using the satellite imagery. Then to do that one, we are going to move to this tab, generate shapefiles, and we are going to reset all the plugin just to remove all this stuff over here. Then just press reset here, yes, and OK. And now it's like we can start from 0. You can do the same process if you close the plugin with this button. If you close with this button, it's going to reset everything again also. And then when you open totally fresh. That's a totally new interface with any information inside, okay? Then As you can see, there are a couple of options. We can use generate shapefile areas and exclusion zones here, and we can do the same, but with coordinates. And at the moment, I'm going to start with this option over here, and I'm going to make something very simple. You have to understand that this tool, this functionality of the plugin is very simple. I don't want to make a tool very complex, to make digitalizations very complicated. It's something very simple. If you want to do things more complicated, you can use the native tools in QGIS. The goal here, it was not just to create a tool that allows you to do very complex shape files. No, that's not the goal. The goal is very simple, is to make the job or the workflow when you are sampling very easy. And how you can do very easy with a very simple tools. And that's what it is, this tool. It's something very simple. Then we check here and we just follow the instructions. Generate sample areas, exclusion zones. Area button, this button over here. Left click to add points, right click to finish. Circle button is this one over here, using 2 points. You can create circles using 2 points. Left click for the center point, right click to set the radius. For both buttons, you need to add an ID. Click OK to save or cancel to start the new digitation. Set the coordinate reference systems in this area over here with the APSG code. And click Finish button to create the final shapefile. Then first thing, we are going to create an area. Click the button area. Select the points where you want to start. In this case, I'm going to start over here. Click, and then appear this segment. I finish over here. Then another click. And you see, it's creating an area. Now I'm going to go over here. Click, and the last one is going to be this point over here. Click left, and then click right with your mouse to enter the ID. In this case, the ID is going to be number 1. You can add whatever ID you want. Okay, and now to finish the process, I need to go here again and press finish. But I didn't add any coordinate reference system. Then as you can see, when I press finish, the pop-up is saying, please enter a APSG code. Then in this case, I'm going to use this code over here, 32613. 32613. Then it is very important to know what is the coordinate reference systems for your sampling area. Because remember, the coordinate reference systems of the sampling area is going to be the same of the coordinate reference systems of your samples, because this area is the one you're going to be loaded in this section over here. Now we are ready to press finish. Then we have to select a folder to save the new shapefile with the area. Going to select this folder over here. Put a name. In this case, it's going to be sampling area 1. And OK. And now you can edit this shapefile like any other shapefile, right? Then you can go here, go to properties. As you can see, we have this reference coordinate system. It's the same as this one. And also we can go to symbology, go here, make this one, for example, transparent, and this one with this kind of line, and number 1 here, and apply. And that's the area for sampling created with the plugin. Okay. The coordinate reference system for the sampling area is something quite critical. You need to be aware that you are going to be working with 3 different kind of layers. One layer is going to be the satellite imagery, another layer is going to be the sampling area, and another layer is going to be the shapefile with the samples. We are talking about 3 different layers, and each of these layers needs to have the same coordinate system. For example, in this case, if you are working in the project for the satellite imagery with this coordinate reference system, you have to add the same coordinate reference systems to the sampling area. You can not add a different coordinate reference system because then you are going to mess the things. And the same for the samples. If you already have some samples that has been taken with a specific coordinate reference system, that's the reference system that you want to have for the satellite imagery and also for the sampling area. You cannot mix coordinate reference systems. When you are working in a project, all the layers that you are loading in this project needs to have the same coordinate reference system if you don't want to make any mistake, okay? And that's something very important to check always, before to do anything, what is going to be the coordinate reference systems that we are going to work in this project. Sometimes can happen that we have layers with different coordinate reference systems. Then in those cases, we need to decide what coordinate system we want to use for the project and then reproject the layers to that coordinate reference systems. In that way, all the layers that we have in the project has the same reference coordinate system. Now we are going to see how to create the exclusion zones for the tanks. Then go here. We are going to select this option over here. One click at the center. And then we set up the radius. That is going to be this one approximately. Right click to finish. Enter the ID. In this case, it's going to be number 1. Okay. And now I'm going to do the second one. The same, left click on the center. Then set up the radius. If you don't like, because it doesn't feel really well, you do the same, right click, but instead to add anything, just cancel. And then you can start again. Set up the radius, right click, enter the ID. In this case, it's going to be number 2, and okay. And now we are going to do the last one. It's going to be this one. Set up the radius, right click, and this one is going to be number 3. Then okay. Now we go here. As we have already added the APSG code, we don't need to do anything else. Then press finish. Select the folder. It's going to be this folder. And I'm going to put here exclusion tanks. Okay. And okay. Now already we have a shapefile with the exclusion zones that can be added over here. If we go click here, we go to this folder. That is where we save the shapefile. And we have the shapefile over here, exclusion tanks. That's the shapefile we created. Cancel. At the moment, the plugin only offers these 2 options to create sampling areas and exclusion zones. The bottom area can make a lot of different shapes. That's really good. And for the circles, you can make just circles. But what happens if you have, for example, this pi line over here, there is a line, or these 2 pi lines over here, how you can digitize this one? Well, in that cases, you have to go to layers and use the native tools of QGIS. In this case, you have to create a layer, new shapefile layer, and here for add a name, save in a folder. Then here for the geometry, you are going to use a line to create that exclusion zone. And also, you can add exclusion zones that can be points. How you can create that ones? For example, as we created the samples, you can create a shapefile with points that could be exclusion zones also, that can be later added in this panel over here. Also, the plugin in a different version can be updated and, for example, add here an extra button to be able to digitize, for example, lines for the pipelines. That could be very interesting. But I don't know. I would like to know what is the experience of the users, if they think it could be useful to have here a button to, for example, digitize lines. I can add it. Just let me know what is your opinion at the comment section. Now we are going to see how to use the next option, generate by coordinates. And because, when you need to define a sampling area, to do like this one is not pretty common, right? Because you exactly don't know if you can take a sample over here. You need a document, a contract, right? Where is the exactly limits of the sampling area, right? What is the lease agreement area? Then sometimes you have a document where it specify the coordinates of the limits of this area. Then that's the reason because I created this section over here, because sometimes you have to create those areas using coordinates that you get in a contract. That's what we are going to do now. Then we can take this one out and this one out, and let's go to do for this one over here. We are going to create this area with coordinates, then go to the plugin. I'm going to reset the plugin to just start from 0. Okay, and I'm going to select this option. Then here you have all the instructions. Generate by coordinates, enter the X coordinate in the X field, enter the Y coordinate in the Y field, click add coordinates to add the point to the list. Points will be displayed in real time on the map. Ensure to add coordinates in order to define the area correctly. The last point will auto connect to the first, closing the area. Once all points are added, enter the APSG code and then click finish to create the final shapefile. Something very important here is that you have to add the points in order, okay? Because if you try to do this one first, then this one, and then this one, the area is not going to be created properly. You have to be in order. For example, in this case, in order could be start here, then this one, and at the end this one. Or in a different order, you can start here, here, but never cross the lines, with the points, because then the area is not going to be created. Then I'm going to start to add the coordinates. I have here the Google Earth Pro. Then I'm going to take the coordinates from these points that I created to create that area over here. But in other cases, you are going to have a document, as I said, with that coordinates. Then let me copy the coordinates here to see how the tool works. Copy, paste, and now I'm going to copy the Y coordinate and add a coordinate. As you can see, now there is a point and the coordinate is over here. Now we're going to add the second one. Paste over here and then copy the Y1 and paste. Add the second coordinate. As I added the second coordinate, a segment has been created between these 2 points. Now I'm going to do the same for this one and for this one, but I'm going to pass the video faster. Now that I have already all the points added, I can press finish, but I need to add first the APSG code. Then it's the same as this one that we have here, 32613. And when I press finish, this and this one, they are going to join. As you see already, they are already joined. Finish, select a folder as before. It's going to be this folder. Select. And here I'm going to add number 2, just to create the final shapefile with this name. And the final shapefile is going to be automatically loaded on the QGIS layer panel. Okay, and okay. Now you have an area that has been created with coordinates. In this case, I'm going to say the same as I said before, right? When you have to add coordinates, you have to make sure in what coordinate reference system that coordinates was taken, okay? Because maybe here you have to change coordinate reference systems of the satellite imagery. You have to project the satellite imagery in a different coordinate reference system, because you have to use the same coordinate reference system that you have in that coordinates to properly create the area for the sampling area. In this case, we can see that the coordinates with the satellite imagery match perfectly. But if you have different coordinate reference systems for the satellite imagery and for the coordinates with the sampling area, you are going to see that the areas doesn't match. But sometimes even you cannot compare with the satellite imagery. Then you have to make sure that you are using the proper coordinate reference system. This is everything for today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next video tutorial that is going to be about random sampling, where we will see other different things related with the plugin.